you wanna
Audio's
start the
ready.
interview?
Audio's ready. That's ready. We're all set. You guys are ready?
Yeah. Are
Alright,
you?
perfect.
Are you ready?
Hopefully.
Action.
Educate me like I'm just very new to this industry. I don't know anything about it. Talk to me in layman terms.
Stuff that you don't want to buy. Stuff that you can buy in Sri Lanka for like 200-300 a carat. I've sold in Kashmir 20,000, 25,000 dollars.
Do you think Origins is like a marketing play sometimes?
We don't even have to go to two separate labs. You get to the same lab, there will be a different result every time.
Be sure of who you buy from. Source
Yeah.
matters so
Source
much.
is very important. I would say, let's say $100,000. They were like, "Are you crazy? Why is it so expensive?
Right.
It's Spinel. It should be $1,000."
Do you think it's a good time to enter this industry? Hi guys.
Hello.
Welcome to In the Loupe. This is the first podcast that we're doing. We're gonna get into everything that you guys do, from emeralds, sapphires, spinels.
Mhm.
So yeah, tell me about yourself. Tell me who you guys are, what do you guys do, what's your role,
Okay.
everything from the start.
Okay. I'm Fardeen Mahdi. I am a director of Bright Green Stones, and I help with sales, designing, and been around for a couple of years working with the family business.
Nice.
And I'm his elder brother, Faiz. I'm the director of Bright Green Stones. I handle purchasing and sales.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you so much for agreeing
Of course.
to do this.
Thank you for having us.
So let's start with the origin. Let's start from the source. Let's go back from the mines. Where do you guys source it from? Where is your main emeralds coming from? What are your sapphires coming from?
So we specialize in Colombian emeralds. So we have a lot of stock. I would say around 99% of our stock is Colombian. And we source directly from Colombia in Bogota. So we have an office there. It's a purchasing office where we go, or my elder brother goes, or sometimes I go purchase Colombian emeralds.
Okay.
Yeah. For rubies and sapphires, we purchase from various different locations. So we source from Tanzania for spinels, for example. We source from Sri Lanka, sapphires. We source from Vietnam. We used to source from Burma, but recently with the conflicts, we have slowed down a little bit on Burma.
Okay.
But the main source is Tanzania, Vietnam, and Sri Lanka.
Okay. tell me something about emeralds. So Colombian emeralds is very well known.
Yeah.
Zambian is picking up
Yeah.
in the recent time. What's the difference between the both of them? How are they price structurally different? And what's the difference? Like, how do you see and identify which one's what?
Well,
Can you firstly?
I can definitely
A person with experience can definitely
Yeah.
find the difference between these stones, Colombian, Zambian emeralds, and even Afghanistan.
See, because we grew up with emeralds, right? So you
Right.
can differentiate the difference between Colombian and Zambian. It's very easy. Just with the first look, you can identify if it's Colombian or not Colombian.
Okay.
Because Colombian has this superior look and color that you can identify. That distinct color. And
It has
the
a
glow.
rich green
Yeah.
color with a little bit of bluish tint to it as well. Unlike maybe Zambian would be more on the yellower side. Yeah.
Yeah, we call it the patchy color.
Patchy
the
color.
military patchy color. Zambian, they have Zambian.
The spread of the green in Colombian emeralds is a little bit more different than Zambian emeralds too. That's yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and in terms of prices, it's very tough to say, but I would put around the difference is around almost double to 1.5, like 100 to 150% difference in price. If it's a
Interesting.
similar quality. Yeah.
In the similar quality, Colombians are more superior than Zambians.
Yes, in terms of pricing and also the quality. I mean, if you put together both stones
Mm-hmm.
of equal quality in Zambian terms and in Colombian terms, of course, when you look at it, the Colombian will outbeat Zambia far away because of the superior
Color.
look and color and quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how's the supply chain like? Is there more mines happening in Colombia? Are there more rough that is coming out of Colombia, or is it more on the Zambian side?
I think the supply chain, Zambia has more supply chain because large companies have dug in,
Okay.
like example Gemfield,
Right.
and they have dominated the car jam and everything, and the mining technique is totally different. So what we have in Colombia, it's all mountainous area, so you need to do a TNT blast through inside in order to extract them.
Very small scale miners.
Yeah,
Right.
makes it very difficult because you're doing tunnels inside. You're doing small tunnels going in and trying to figure out where the pocket is for emeralds.
Very private areas, private stashes in
Yeah.
mountains.
Whereas in Zambia, you have big fields, flat lands, and they do large scale digging, mining, like proper pits in order to extract emeralds. So you have a lot more of Zambian compared to Colombia.
I feel like Zambian is a bit more cleaner and organized in terms of finding their stones.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because it's easy. It's easy to find.
It's easy to find.
Right.
You
Okay.
know,
Especially if you have those big companies like Gemfields operating in them as well.
Okay. Let's talk about Gemfield.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are these guys doing? Well, I mean, how are they sourcing this rough? How did they get into this business in the first place? Do you guys have any idea?
They've always been in this industry. I think they had also other mining projects before, way before when they started. And a couple of guys discovered ruby. First it was rubies,
Right.
I think in
Yeah.
Mozambique that
Yes.
they discovered. And then that's where they started. And then they moved their way to Zambia for emeralds, or other way around. I'm actually not sure. But they're there almost 20 years, 25 years. I
They're
think.
pretty much bullish on the Zambian emeralds
Yeah.
currently.
They are the ones controlling the prices. They are the one holding the grip on rubies and emeralds, from Zambia and from Mozambique. So they're a large company. They're pretty big, and they do auctions. I think 2 or 3 times a year for emeralds, and
Right.
2 to 3 times a year for rubies.
Right.
And they extract a lot.
Definitely.
Do you guys participate in these auctions?
In Gemfield, no, because we don't do much of Zambian emeralds,
Okay.
and we don't do rubies. So we
Either,
are not. We didn't really approach them, or they didn't really approach us because we don't really have
Right.
connection.
Okay. So I had this interesting conversation happening with a diamond friend of mine. So in the diamond industry, it's how they've got this traceability where they've been tracking the stone from all the way up from the rough all the way up to finish cut stone.
Okay.
And they're tracing it in such a way where you can see the gemstone's journey, right? Where it's gone, how many hands has it, laid on, and how much forward is it going. Do you think that could possibly happen in the gemstones that you guys are doing in? Like emeralds?
I think it's
spinels?
already happening. We have a couple of stones from Colombia that we have the traceability account. So if you're working with certain, let's say if you're working in rough with certain suppliers who we trust, they do the traceability certificates. I think only few labs who does it, like SSCF does it, Bellerophon does it. So we call them rough to polish certificate. So they give you send a stone in rough. They take a photo, measurements, they check everything, and they send it back to you. You do a pre-form, you send it to them. They do all the photos and the checking, and then you send it back again. And then you do the polishing, and then you send it back. And then they give you the final result. So you have the rough, the pre-form, and the final result.
Final result.
This way they track where the stone is from, how many carat it was in rough, how many carat it was in pre-form. Pre-form is when you, before you polish the stone, and then how many carat after polishing. Okay. There are few stones we have, but in color stone industry, it's not as popular and it's not as common as diamonds.
Yeah. Right. Agreed. What about the spinels? Where are you guys sourcing that? Like you just mentioned that Burmese spinels are they rare?
They are rare, especially from Mensen mine and also from Namia mine. Have you seen this neon Jedi color?
Right.
Like you know the Jedi, the reference Jedi, where the Jedi reference came from? Have you seen Star Wars?
No.
You have not seen Star Wars?
You have to educate me on
that. Dude. Okay. So Star Wars is Star Wars. So there's the dark force, whatever.
Dark forest,
So the swords that you see,
neon swords when they turn it on and the zoop, the sound they make. in Star Wars.
So the people who hold the swords, they're called Jedi.
Jedis.
Okay.
So that's a reference to the sword because of the glow and the neonness of the spinel.
Oh.
That's how the word Jedi spinel appeared.
It's a very vibrant color of the sword.
Yeah.
So it kind of like gives out that strong
Okay.
glow.
So it was taught by a person named a great gemologist named Vincent.
Okay.
So he's the one who started this trend with the name, and it exploded. Everyone started to know.
Wow.
But if you see the real Namya and Mensen spinel, the neon Jedi spinels, it's fascinating.
It's beautiful.
The
I had it in my hand just yesterday. Actually, I was playing around with it. The fire inside the stone is just beautiful.
Dude, like I tell you, if you keep the stone far away on the table,
you can see it from like a mile away.
Wow.
You can see it from a mile away.
It's that glowing. So, original Burma, the Mensen and Namya Jedi spinels, they are extremely rare.
Okay.
And highly valuable for their beauty. You can find similar ones, slightly less in Tanzania, of course. But they are much more available compared to the Burma ones.
And what about Tajikistan?
Tajikistan, mine is beautiful, but they're always softer colors, if you have noticed. They're always like pinkish tone. They're not so neon. They're vibrant, but not so neon, not so glowy. And the colors are very soft. Purplish tone, pinkish tone, softer tones.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you go with Vietnam also has some really nice spinels. Vietnam also has some beautiful, especially they're known for cobalts.
Okay.
Have you heard about cobalt spinels?
No. Educate me again.
Cobalt spinels are the rarest spinels on Earth. So they're known for their neon cobalt blue.
Lightning color.
The lightning electric color. Blue colors.
It's really neon.
So
it's completely different from what blue sapphires you see. It's very different.
The
color is
super nice.
Unique.
If you had to compare that color with one other colored gemstones, what would it be? The closest.
Hyunite would be the closest one. Have you heard of the word Hyunite? They were usually very small, very tiny. They come from Germany.
Okay.
They're like 10 cents, 20 cents. And that's the closest color you'll ever see. Yeah, you should have brought up some cobalt upstairs.
I think after the podcast, we'll head down.
Yeah.
And
we can show them.
You can just show me
a lot of
the lots that you guys have of
the best gems
of
cobalt
spinels. Yeah.
100%.
Perfect.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. So one of the most confusing parts for clients and for dealers sometimes is the type of treatment that these stones go through. Emeralds, for me personally, is very confusing when it comes to treatments because there's so many treatments that are happening with emerald, oil, resin, fracture filling, whatever. Give me like a educate me like a. I'm just very new to this industry. I don't know anything about it. Talk to me in layman terms what these treatments are.
So emeralds are one of the most complicated stones because it has so many different type of treatments. But mainly there are only two types that people should understand. Either oil or no oil.
Okay.
This is the main thing that people should understand first. And then there are subcategories of oil as well. There is insignificant, minor to moderate, insignificant. Which actually we don't really have any control of it. Because it all comes down to the stone and how much it absorbs the oil.
Okay.
The more it absorbs the oil, the more significant it becomes.
Is that a good thing?
No, it's not a good thing. In trade terms, it's not a good thing.
Right.
But for us, we can't really have any control because we're not putting, let's say we're not measuring, let's say we're going to put 1 liter, let's say 1 liter of oil inside the emerald or 2 millimeter of oil.
It's basically how the stone is absorbing.
Yeah, this is how the stone absorbs. Yeah, how the stone absorbs, how big the cracks are inside to absorb the stone and how it will look, how clean it will get after oiling. The only control we have is either we do oil or we don't have oil.
Okay.
So it's basic. So the resin comes in the next more of a synthetic treatment. Resin is when they oil the stone and then they glue the cracks. So the oil doesn't come out forever. So it's a permanent treatment.
Okay.
So what you have at the top is a very hardened resin that they patch in so that the oil doesn't leak out, because oil is oil. It's a natural thing. It will leak out over time.
Right.
So that's another treatment.
Okay. How do you communicate all of this to your clients?
I mean, we try to be as transparent as possible. We try to make them understand how oil matters in this. Some understand, some don't. Like for those terms like insignificant or minor, it's a hard time understanding what those are. But in the wholesale or the trade, it's actually a big, massive difference between a minor and an insignificant. So like, we do our best to be transparent and honest as possible. If they get it, but
it's hard to make them understand because there's a very thin line in between minor to moderate and minor.
Okay.
So people they have a requirement. They only want minor plus. So either they want minor or insignificant. They don't want to go one step down. Especially the Chinese market.
Mm-hmm.
They would not buy a minor to moderate stone, no matter how beautiful the stone is and how cheap the price is. They wouldn't buy it because they assume and they have this psychology in their head. Oh yeah, it's minor to moderate. It's not good. But actually, it's very little difference, and it makes
Fine
no
margins.
difference. Yeah, and there's no difference between minor and minor to moderate.
But in the trade, I feel like that makes a big impact.
Yeah, in the trade, it makes a difference, because people assume how do I say it? People demanded it, and so people followed the demand.
Right.
That's how it is right now.
How serious are the buyers in the trade when it comes to the minor?
Very serious.
Very serious about
it.
They wouldn't buy it. So they would, if for example, these two stones I don't have certificate, and I said, okay, these might come minor, and they would say, okay, if come minor, I would buy it. If it's less than minor, I wouldn't buy it.
Okay.
So it's very serious. Sometimes you have broken deals that are like hundreds and thousands of dollars.
And have you gone to, like, for example, 2 separate labs and tested it? One came minor, the other one came significant.
We don't even have to go to 2 separate labs. You give to the same lab, they'll give you different result every time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like this.
Okay.
Because it's how do you say, it's opinionated.
Right.
So you see, a person sees one line and he's considered it, okay, this graph shows me it's a minor, and then another person sees, okay, maybe it's just falling on the border, I might give minor to moderate.
Okay.
It's all opinion. If you see all the labs and the conditions and all the restrictions at the back, it's all opinionated. They follow the graph and they give their opinion on the results.
Okay.
But that influences a lot of perception, though, in a lot of gemstones.
Oh yeah, labs play a big role.
Big role. Huge role.
20 years ago, they played no role in the industry. Everything was look, feel, trust. That's it.
Right.
Nowadays, big labs play a major role in your stone. Basically, they are our partners.
Right. You need to have a good rapport with them
exactly
to get the results in our favors. Basically.
No, it's not that way. And what I mean to say is, for example, I have a big stone, let's say $100,000 worth of stone. I'm making a big lab. Let's say I'm making a GRS with a platinum book that's costing me around $2,500 to $3,000 to make. Right. So I am adding the cost on the stone, on top of the stone.
Yeah.
And it will only sell because it has GRS.
Okay.
Yeah.
So technically they become our partners. Without it, it won't go.
Right.
It goes both ways, I feel. They protect you at the points and sometimes just lock you in. If they give you moderate and if you expect like a minor to come out, you just lost a lot of value.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pricing big, like it plays like such a huge role in our industry.
Oh yeah.
One price up and down, and you're either in it or you're out of it completely. Right? There's so much competition in our industry. It's a massive industry.
Yeah.
What is your strategy when it comes to on-counter sales that you guys are doing currently, or during the shows when we have the trade shows? Is it any different from your regular sales? How is it like when it comes to the pricing?
Pricing wise, I mean, it's different, but what happens is in the trade show, we do much more sales compared to the average office time, or when we go out, because in trade shows, people are in a mood and people gather at one location everybody comes, everybody looks, and there are a lot of footwalks. People
Right.
are coming in, they're watching, they're looking, they have demand. So it's easier to make more sales in the show compared to in office in one short time.
Right.
For example, in the show we have like say 5 days, 6 days, sometimes 4 days. For
Right.
example, in Hong Kong show, no.
Yeah.
So you do much more sales in these 4-5 days compared to 4-5
3
days
months.
in or a
sometimes
month
3
or
months
two.
also.
Yeah, a month or 2 or 3 months in the office.
Yeah.
In terms of pricing, we consider ourselves wholesale company, and we believe that rotating and overly turnarounds in a year is better than waiting for the right price in 2 years.
Okay.
So we wanna rotate and quickly buy, sell, keep the client, keep the cycle running.
Mm-hmm.
Better than holding and collecting and waiting until we get the right price.
Interesting.
Because we're not collectors. You see, we're traders, and thanks God, we see new stones every day, and there's a new pocket popping somewhere in Tanzania, new supplier coming in. We have a lot of Sri Lankans coming in every day trying to show the stones. So we have stones coming in and out, in and out. So we try to move as quickly as possible in order to replace other or jump into more quantity.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Is Origin sometimes like? Do you think Origins is like a marketing play sometimes?
Sometimes, yes, it's a brand, of course, but Colorstone's whole idea is based on rarity,
Mm-hmm.
and origin rarity is very important. So, for example, if you're seeing Kashmiri sapphires compared to Sri Lankan sapphires, you have one Kashmiri sapphire for 100 Sri Lankan sapphires, right? So, the rarity plays a big and huge impact.
Do you think sometimes these rarity is not a natural thing, but like people back in the supply chain hoarding them?
For some location, yes. Most, no. So for Kashmir thing, it really doesn't exist. You go everywhere, you go left, right, you try to find Kashmir, it's going to take you a long time to find.
Right.
And when you do find it, it's a crazy local price. They're asking $300,000, $400,000 a carat. And they do sell it. Like, have you seen the recent auction of the 35 carat Kashmir?
Yeah.
Dude, that went for like $270 a carat. That's like $9 million for the stone. That's insane, no?
Insane.
If you have the same material in, let's say, Sri Lankan,
Mm-hmm.
it would go, let's say, maybe 40,000-50,000 a carat max, or maybe 60,000 a carat.
So at this point, like, no matter how beautiful, I mean, I'm sure that they have a nice velvety stone, they have a beautiful color to it, but the name is what sells it. The name is what sells it. And Sri Lankan stones, beautiful, magnificent, but again, if you go compare it to Madagascar, Sri Lankans have a higher value than Madagascar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you compare Burma, Burmese have much more higher price compared to Sri Lanka.
Right.
So you can see the supply chain, the supply and demand. So the demand for Kashmir is very high, the supply is very low, so the price
is automatically
pumps.
Exactly.
Regardless of whether it's looking exactly the same as the Sri Lankan.
Man, I have sold 2 carat size light color. I'm ashamed to tell you this. Light color, like the stuff that you don't want to buy, stuff that you can buy in Sri Lanka for like $200-300 a carat. I've sold in Kashmir $20,000, $25,000, and they were 2-3 people willing to buy it. They were hungry to buy it
just because of the name Kashmir.
Just because of the name Kashmir. Same material in Sri Lanka, no one would pay more than, let's say, $300-400 a carat. And that's total stone, 2 carat, 3 carat, about, let's say, $1,000 for the whole stone.
Wow. And do these lab reports mention where the mines are from?
Yeah, they do mention. They don't mention the mine, they mention the origin of the stone.
Yeah, the country.
Yeah, the country of origin.
The name of the thing.
They do mention it. Most labs do mention it. And it's a very big thing in our color stone industry. One lab, if says Kashmir, I would want another lab mentioning it so that I am assured and ensured that it's real Kashmir. And I'm paying proper money for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Blue sapphires have so many trade names.
Yes.
Give me the names of what these blue sapphires are.
They can be.
You mean the color?
The color, the
trade-
color, yeah, the
Ah,
trade
okay.
names
Those terms
of colors,
used for colors.
like
Yeah.
cornflower.
This is royal
yeah.
blue,
Yeah.
cornflower. It's just blue itself.
Yeah, there's
Any
intense
other
blue.
Intense blue.
There is peacock blue.
Yeah.
There is pastel blue. I think there's
Vivid
one.
blue.
Yeah, there's also one intense to vivid blue.
Okay.
There's also vivid to dark blue or vivid to deep blue.
Mhm.
There's so many different terms.
And how do
Indigo.
how do they price range matter in this? Like, what's the most superior?
The most superior.
is royal blue.
No, I think it's peacock.
Peacock
Peacock blue is considered to be the most superior one. It's harder to get.
Harder
It's
to
more open, bright color that you see that hits your eyes immediately. You know, as soon as you see, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the highest, I think, and
highest.
then goes cornflower. No, sorry, royal blue, and then cornflower,
and
vivid
then
blue, and then the rest falls.
Yeah.
That falls.
and that really affects the price. That really the label in some
Really
labs they give the names as a fancy poetic name for those gemstones like Lotus gives, Tiaras gives. They give royal blue, they give cornflower, peacock blue, and that really matters for the price.
It's crazy. I'll tell you a story, man. I had a 5-carat blue sapphire, Sri Lankan,
Okay.
and I made GRS for it, snow heat, and they only gave blue. I couldn't sell it. Tried it again because the color was in the border of blue and cornflower. Tried it again to make a cert. I think I spent like 3 times. I sent it back to cert. They gave me blue. It was stuck with me for almost 3 to 4 years.
What color did you want?
At least a cornflower.
Cornflower, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Stuck with me for 3-4 years. So I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna try one more time. God is with me. Let's just do it.
Right.
So I was in Hong Kong. I went to Hong Kong show during the show, and I said, listen, it's cornflower blue. Take it. Try to check it. They say, okay, we'll give you the results in 3 days. In Hong Kong, it's express.
Right.
And after 3 days, they give cornflower blue.
Oh wow.
I swear to you, man, I sold it within 35 minutes.
That's how much it matters. Yes.
Before no one would want to buy it. Nobody wanted to buy it. Nobody wanted to touch it. They're like, blue. What's the result? Blue. I know. I don't want it.
Right.
As soon as the word cornflower mentioned
So those
in,
fancy
in
names.
the, in the cert,
Sold
within 35 minutes, I went to this client. I showed, listen, it's cornflower. I have this. It's good price. He said, how much? I cut out. Shook hand.
Done.
Paid immediately.
Move on.
Yeah.
Wow. 3 years later.
3 years later, I'm hard trying all the hard work.
Worth it. In the end, yeah.
Yeah, so these trade colors really matter. Really matter in color style.
And some labs are so frustrating.
Oh yes, some labs are so
frustrating. But in the end, we got no control over that.
Yeah, that's why I said they are partners.
Yeah.
Because they really have an impact.
And
on
sometimes
the
they help
business
you in, they help you out sometimes.
Yeah, they help you. They're business friendly. Of course, some of the labs are very business friendly, but sometimes they're not so
They're
good.
not so good. Yeah. I mean, you've got your ups and downs with labs then.
Yeah.
It all depends on how the labs are doing for you guys.
Yeah.
What are your major clients from? Like which regions are they coming from?
They're a
mix of pretty much
everywhere.
Yeah. You have European clients, US clients, Asian clients.
We have a lot of
specific
Chinese. So one of the biggest market that at this moment we are the Chinese. They hold a lot of ground in colorstone world. I think most of the people now are focusing on the Chinese market because that's the one that's consuming a lot of colorstones,
right?
Especially the fine quality one. US has always been there. Europe is quiet at this moment, but US and China would be at the top. Southeast Asia as well. Let's say the Malaysian, Indonesian belt. That is also really heavy on consumption of colorstones.
Are they more focused on spinels currently? Like, how do you see the trend of spinels in the market?
Oh, it's been there. I mean, the trend of spinel has been there since pre-COVID. Pre-COVID, the trend started, like let's say 2017, 18, 19, it started, and it's at the peak at the moment. So and it started from the east actually, and slowly made it to the west.
Okay.
Because the west, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, didn't believe that spinels could be that much priced.
Right.
They would say, oh yeah, 10 carat spinel. I would say, let's say $100,000. They were like, are you crazy? Why is it so expensive?
Right.
If it's spinel, it should be $1,000. Like, you know, they didn't realize it, that
Like-
the spinel prices pumped so much.
Like my brother, we were talking about this the other day, and how my father used to get people to come and show them spinels, and they used to like discard them. Like, what are these? Like, not so popular. Just basic boring gemstones.
Yeah.
But now, just 20, 15 years later, they're
Boom.
just 100-200%, just double, triple the
Man,
price.
back in 2016, I bought a first Tanzanian spinel, 3 carat.
Mm-hmm.
Costed me $600 total.
Okay.
Neon like this one. 3
Okay.
carat neon. I sold it for like 900. My cousin sold it for me for 900, and I was on the moon. You know, I was like, damn, 600. I'm making $300 on a 600 deal. I'm the best. You know, you feel the energy.
Top of the world.
Yeah, you feel the top of the world. Same stone I purchased for $12,000 2 years ago.
So
I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
The difference is crazy.
Same stone I purchased because I sold it to the client. He sold it to a gem collector.
Okay.
Same stone I bought it for $12,000, and that too is cheap. And I bought that for $12,000. I sold it for 16.
Wow.
It's crazy the inflation. It's crazy the
Right.
price it jumped. You know, it's nuts.
Do you think colored gemstones have this cycle of? I have this theory.
Mm.
I don't know if I'm right or wrong. Just
Mhm.
correct me if I'm wrong. But I have this theory that every colored stone goes through this 6-year to 7-year price cycle where it experiences extreme boom, and then all of a sudden there is just no demand at all. You know, after like 7 years, there's no like. It's usually what happens is it goes regressionally up, and then it'll
Yeah.
come down. You know, it's mature. It's coming down slowly.
Yeah.
But in our industry, I've seen that it comes a peak and then it just falls down.
There's a term for it. We call it seasonal stones.
Right.
So, for example, let's say Tanzanites, for instance. If you remember, 2014, 15, those were the time where Tanzanite was booming. Like, people were nuts about Tanzanite. They were like, Tanzanite.
Right.
So, and it took off. It took off really heavy from all the way, let's say, $20, $30, $40, $50 per carat. Went all the way to $1,000, $1,800,
Yes.
$2,000 per carat. And then after 2018, 19, no one wanted Tanzanites.
Right.
Why is that?
And-
What happened?
It's a seasonal stone. They realize, okay, we're tired of it. It's because it's only one color, one shade.
One color, one
People
shade.
got bored of it.
It's not because they found like a new mine that produces
No,
more.
Tanzania is very rare because it's only found in Tanzania.
Tanzania, yeah. It's just one.
It's
place.
one location.
mine, one
Zoyasite,
location.
it's only found in Tanzania and only in
It's
Tanzania.
named after the country itself. So
Yeah, Tanzania. And it's beautiful stone. It's a
Yeah.
very nice stone, but people got bored of it. It became a seasonal stone. The trend fell off. They didn't want to do any business. Nobody wanted to buy anything. The wholesale trade was collapsing. So then they fixated the prices.
right.
They fix the prices. So the top ones are like 250, 350, 400, 500, maybe a
The
little
D
bit
blocks
more.
and all, yeah.
Yeah, so the average ones are like 120, 150, 160, and that's it. Even the prices 5 years ago were the same. Today also.
It's the same.
But some stones, for example, the evergreen stones we call it, the sapphires, rubies, the emeralds,
They're never out of fashion.
they're never out of fashion. Correct.
Right.
They don't go out of trend. They're always there, and they're always heavy on the prices. And now spinels have taken over.
I was just gonna ask you: is
Yeah.
spinel one of these seasonal stones? What do you guys think?
Spinels is not a seasonal stone
I
for
don't
sure,
think so.
because people can
Okay.
never get bored of it, and there's not abundant of it.
Mhm.
Right? You cannot find a pair of beautiful, nice Jedi spinel.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost impossible task. You know, if you do find a pair, you can't find a third stone.
Right.
Right? So the rarity factor is there, the beauty is there, and people are not bored because different colors play different roles.
And there's
For
so many
example,
spinel colors as
Yeah,
well.
you have the gray spinel, which is very trendy. We have the blue spinel. We have the cobalts, which are always on trend. We have the neon pinks, the reds, the gray.
Right. This.
Yeah, you have the purples. You have the lavender spinels. So they have this variety of colors. People don't get bored of it. It's always in demand, and the supply is limited.
Mhm.
Not like Tanzanite or rubylite, where there's abundant of
Right.
supply. Yeah.
You know, this brings me so our end goal of all of these stones are most likely being set in jewelry, right?
Yeah.
It's either the collectors that are hoarding them for investment purposes, or it's for the jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
What happens, like the sunrise, the sunset, the cornflower color, all of this, what happens when the clients get it? Like, do they really care about what the name is? Sunrise, sunset,
They do.
cornflower, all of that. Are they really educated? The
Yeah.
people that are buying the jewelry.
They do care. They do care. They're the ones creating these demands at first. They're the ones who are, of course, the traders are also influencing the demands as well. For example, they are selling it at the beginning. They're selling it to their clients, saying this is a sunset. It's beautiful,
Right.
just like a sunset at the beach. The color's more orange. So this gets populated. So this one, the idea is formed, and then it gets spreaded all across. So the clients now demand it because they've heard it from their friend. They've heard it on the internet. They've seen it on the internet. They've read it somewhere. They've seen it in a show. So it creates desirability,
Right.
and they start to request or demand these type of special colors.
Okay, interesting. All right, last question for today.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Emerald, Spinel, and the Sapphire industry going further? In terms of the pricing, in terms of the
Okay.
demand,
Uh-huh.
in terms of the rarity of the source, the supply chain, do you think it's going to be packed? What do you think of these stones? How is it going to be like in the next 5 years from now?
I think they're just going to be more hyped, more
Demand for sure.
more demand for sure. There's going to be an abundance of demand because people are increasing their wealth over time. So people are growing. Each country is growing, reducing its poverty, growing its wealth. So the more demand is going to come in. So when the more demand comes in, and gemstone play a key role in showcasing your
Wealth.
wealth,
Well, status as well.
your status. People put a nice big stone to show off. To also for an investment. It's because it's tangible investment. It's very
Right.
tangible, very easy to move. It's very movable as well. So demand is going to be very strong. The supply is going to be less, I'm sure, because every time, I mean, it can barely produce any more spinels in Tanzania. Everything is coming out milky, bluish tone compared to the nice neon ones they used to get before.
Right.
Colombian emeralds have reduced their quantity in terms of production. Everything is coming lighter, lower commercial grade compared to the higher investment grade. So the supply will be definitely low, and the demand will be really strong, and the price point will hit up. I can't tell you exactly how much.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
not a baba to tell you the price.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's gonna go 10% or 100%.
Right.
But we can have an idea that when the supply is low and demand is high, the price is going to pump.
Do you think it's a good time to enter this industry?
At the moment,
With the right capital,
with the right capital. But our industry, more than the capital, experience is more.
that's what I was going to say actually.
Compared to capital, experience is very important in this industry. You cannot just come with, let's say, $1 million and try to turn it into a 2 million. It doesn't work that way. If you come with a $1 million, you're going to lose 1 million like this.
Right.
Because this is the most expensive addiction ever.
Yeah.
You know, I tell you honestly, I tell this to my brother. Sometimes we are frustrated because the cash flow is not enough. Even if you have $100 million, there'll be a stone that's $101 million.
Right.
And we won't
And
have
we
money
want
for
that.
it.
Exactly.
And we want that. So it's frustrating because there are a lot of beautiful stones and they come with price. So experience is very important.
And the stone's value and the price is more of who's selling it. I feel the reputation and adds value.
Yeah.
Even if if this person is well known, they could probably push over and get like a sale. If it's a newbie coming in the market, even if it's like a killer stone, he just be pushed over. No one might not bother buying it from him.
The name, the face, the experience matters a lot.
Okay.
Experience. And your connections matter a lot.
Yeah, over time, when you're in the industry, over time you build those
connections,
right?
yes.
The experience brings that connection. People talk to you, people trust you, so it flies. It connects dots. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much to the both of you for giving your invaluable time. This has been amazing learning wise,
Thank you.
I've learned a lot for sure.
Yeah.
And I think our viewers as well, if they watch the whole thing, I'm really bagging on the fact that they're also learning a lot from this.
I hope.
And yeah, this is In the Loupe with Tushar, where we talk inside the details. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Pretty
you.
much.
Peace.
All right. Perfect.
Perfect.